Hello Strikers, I'm Dries.
And I'm Jente.
And we're at Penne.
A very majestic castle that we are going to check out.
Seeing this castle from afar made us scratch our heads. How did it not fall down into the gorge after all these years? The castle is built on a crooked peak seemingly dangling 120 meters above the river Aveyron below. To reach the fortress we need to make our way through the winding medieval streets of the quaint little town with old timber-framed houses, arched doorways and crooked paved streets. Here and there the castle would poke its towers into view to keep us going on the right track. One of the most distinguishing features as you enter the castle is the spurred left tower of the mighty gatehouse. Longtime viewers of the channel might recognize its shape. This spurred tower actually served as an inspiration for the grand Narbonne gate in the city of Carcassonne. Why not head back to that video after this one to have a look? The link is in the description.
Despite the mention of a castle in Penne in the 9th century, the oldest remains today date to the 12th century. Back then it was the property of the lords of Troncavel, who also owned the mighty city of Carcassonne. Its important strategic location would make it a strongly contested castle through the ages. The 12th century saw conflicts between the lords of Troncavel and the Count of Toulouse. In 1209 the Albigensian Crusade began. The lords of Penne resisted the foreign aggressors and had to withstand the siege shortly after in 1212, which they successfully fended off. Penne would become a symbol of southern resistance to the crusade. Some years later the two lords of Penne swore an oath of fidelity to the Count of Toulouse, who was leading the southern resistance.
The crusade eventually forced the Count of Toulouse to sue for peace. During the negotiations in 1229, the castle of Penne was handed over to the French crown, but the lords of Penne would have none of that and continued on their resistance. It would take until 1251 before they surrendered their castle, making them two of the last lords in the south to surrender to the king.
During the 100 Years' War in the 14th century, the castle changed hands several times between French and English troops. It would resist a siege in 1412, but sadly, the state of the castle was already going downhill. During the Wars of Religion in the 16th century, Protestant troops conquered the castle and finally dismantled it in 1586.
The story of Penne is not only a story of resistance, it's also a story of rebirth, though that story would start a lot later. In 2006, a local architect launched the ambitious project to restore the castle. It's his passion, and the passion that flows through the team as well, that makes our visit possible today. The website of the castle shows how far the work has gotten through the years, and walking around today, it's obvious that work is still very much in progress.
The best views over the castle, the town, the valley and the entire landscape in general are to be had on top of the donjon. Though we sadly can't visit it entirely, we can't complain about our visit to this majestic fortress. We'll definitely be coming back to this one if we're ever in the area again.
This was Penne. Hope you enjoyed. Let's continue on with the arbitrary subjective castle score. Jente, you go first.
I go first. Well, I think this castle certainly deserves a 9.5. The restoration is just as we like it, to support dilapidated parts, give way to the tourists to see everything, but not try to over-restore it.
Yeah. And this location it's gravity defying with the overhanging rock. It's so beautiful. I'm gonna go for a 9.5 as well. Thank you so much for watching. We were the History Hikers.
Like, comment, subscribe and all that other good YouTube stuff if you want to see more of these kind of castles. And if you have a question or any other kind of comment, put it down below. We react to everything.
Until next time. Bye.
Bye!